What we're doing now is we're recognizing the 100th anniversary of the first description of sickle cell disease in the Western literature by Dr. James Herrick. We're looking at both the incredible advances that we've made over this last century, but perhaps even more importantly, looking to the advances that we're planning to make in the coming century. Sickle cell disease represents one of the great triumphs of medical research. In my career as a clinician and as a researcher, there's been an absolutely major shift in the survival rate for sickle cell disease and in the level of complications which are seen. What this reflects is the research base in which we understand both the nature of the disease and the complications which develop. This has enabled us to do early diagnosis and preventative therapies which have made it so that it is uncommon for children to die of sickle cell disease in this country now, and that the average lifespan is well into middle age. Many patients have difficulty getting high-quality care. They don't have access to doctors who know enough about the disease. They may not have access to therapies that would potentially benefit them. And often they don't have access to some of the ways of dealing with the disability with which they're living. Among the really exciting opportunities in sickle cell disease research are some cellular therapies, particularly bone marrow transplant and gene therapies. Bone marrow transplant will cure sickle cell anemia, and we've known that for quite some time. The application of bone marrow transplant is limited by the fact that you have to have a donor who matches you and who does not have the disease. Gene therapy is increasingly promising as a potential cure for sickle cell anemia. This is a genetic disease. We can replace the gene. And some of the recent advances in this field lead us to think that this is much closer to clinical application than it has been in the past. The NHLBI has a long-standing and permanent commitment to research in sickle cell anemia. We will be continuing to support basic science studies, and we will be continuing to support clinical trials. We're also working with the community to ensure that community input is taken into the design of trials. We expect to be increasing the number of trials that are open over the next several years as we have some very exciting new treatments to test.